The same way we learn how to throw a football, these 6 skills that we're trying to learn are going to be responses that'll help us in situations when we have events that may cause adversity, right? So what was the first one? You had mentioned what that first skill was. Press pause. Press pause. I don't have a good marker. What does that mean? What does press pause mean? Press and pause.
It's like you gotta think about what you're doing.
Think, absolutely. Think about what you're doing. Think about what you need to do in this situation to help you respond in the way you need to do in order to get that outcome you're looking for. What was the second? Get your mind right. Get your mind right. It's 2 big things we want to remember when we talk about get your mind right. Okay? The first thing is what we focus on. What we focus on. And when we say what we focus on, we're talking about what are we thinking about in our head once this event happened. If I'm thinking about the negative things during this event, then I have a negative mindset. And I'm not putting myself in a position to respond in an elite way. Right? If I'm focusing on the positives in the event, then I'm going to have what kind of mindset? A positive mindset. Right? So the first thing we talk about when we talk about get our mind right is how we, or what we focus on, right? Focus. Remember focus. Everybody say focus.
Focus.
So the first thing we get in your mind right is what we do, is what we focus on. Okay? The second part to getting our mind right is how we talk to ourselves. So the first part to getting your mind right is what we focus on. And the second part is how we talk to ourselves. How many of y'all talk to yourselves? All the time. Alright? All the time. And when you're not verbally talking to yourself, sometimes you're mentally talking to yourself, right? Right? So there's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. And what starts to happen when you talk to yourself, you're setting up the table to produce whatever action you're about to have next. Okay, so if I have positive self-talk, then I'm setting myself up for a positive action. If I have an irritated self-talk, I'm going to have an irritated action. We talked about that last week, right, Tristan? You had the whole thing with doing the dishes, and you felt irritated. So now you start talking to yourself irritated. Now you start acting irritated. And then who's that making mad? It's making you mad, but then who else is it affecting? Your mama, right? Same thing on the football field. Coach tells you to do something, you probably don't want to do it. But if you talk to yourself under your breath in an irritated manner, your body language and your actions are going to look what? Irritated. So what kind of picture are you painting in your coach's mind? He's irritated. Where can we perform in that elite area that we were talking about on the mountain of average? If we're irritated? Not going to be able to do it, are you? Okay? You'll be below average. Okay? So I just gave you 2 examples of self-talk. One was irritated. Okay? The other one we talked about last week, and it's in your notes, is a survival mindset. Okay? And we talk about that survival mindset, we're thinking about doing just enough to get by. Okay? That means if mom told me to go do the dishes, clean the room, I'm going to clean up everything she can see, but the stuff she can't see, I'm not going to worry about. The stuff under the bed, I'm just going to pile it up under there. Okay, that's a survival mindset. Another example of a survival mindset is my coach tells me to do 100 push-ups, but I know I'm physically able to do 200. A survival mindset is I'm going to do this 100 and be done with it. Am I getting better? No. You're staying average. You're right there in that 80% range that we talked about on that mountain of average last week. Absolutely.
Below average, average, or elite.
Or elite. That's right. We learned that last week. What was that principle called? Y'all remember? Yeah. What did we draw up on the board last week? I'll give you a hint. It had something that kind of was like math.
A graph.
What kind of graph was it?
A line.
It wasn't a line graph. What did it look like?
Had numbers on the graph. The graph amount of average.
The mountain of average. Explain to David and Kamari. They weren't here last week. Explain to them what the mountain of average is. Y'all remember?
The average is where it could be below average, it could be below average, it could be average, and it could be elite.
Elite. That's right.
So that 10%, 80%, and 10%.
10%, 80%, 10%. That's called the 10-80-10 principle. And it equals 100. So what we learned when we did this graph was, okay, there's a wall. That's right, there is a wall.
So you have to work your way with the wall to get to push yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do we call the wall here? We call it the edge, remember?
Oh.
Yeah, we call it the edge. Okay? So in this graph, all right, down here is low performance. I'm going to put an L, that's low. Up here is high performance. Okay? And say in this example, we're going to look at a team of people. Say there's 100 people. The 10-80-10% or principle says that 10% of the people on that team are going to fall down here in low performers. They're not going to be motivated. They're just there. Exactly.
They're just going to warm the bench up.
They're just going to warm the bench up. That's right. That's right. Or in the classroom, they're just showing up, but they're not doing any work.
That's lazy.
It's lazy. And then at home, they're just waking up
And go to sleep.
and going to sleep. They ain't going to do anything else around the house. Those are low performers. Okay? Now the 80% says is average.
They can do it, but they know they can afford it.
Absolutely. And then what's on the other side, the last 10%?
They go over.
They go over.
They go above.
They go above. They have talent and skill, and they take that and they build skill to where they can be the best versions of themselves.
You could just imagine that you working your way into the league, but you just imagine you just hitting that wall to get to a league.
Absolutely. And when we talk about hitting that wall, those are what we call reps. Okay? In order to build the skill that you need to be able to move into elite status, you got to do something over and over and over and over again. Now, is it easy to move into this elite zone?
No.
No. It's uncomfortable. It's work. That's why we call it the edge right there. It's a wall that you got to bust through. And some people, what they say, they start chipping through that wall, and then they end up turning back and saying, I'm just good with being average.
That's how it goes. You have to get to. If you want to be good, you have to work.
That's right. You got to do it. You got to work. And we build skill by doing the reps. So when we talk about chiseling through that wall, those are reps. If I'm learning to play the piano, every time I go and practice, that's a rep that's going to make me better. If I'm learning how to manage my R factor response, I got to put myself in positions over and over again that forces me to press pause and get my mind right. That's what our coaches do to us when they put us through wind sprints, when they create scenarios in practice that forces you to go through that edge. All right?
Hard work pays off.
Hard work pays off. All right? Now, when we left last week, I challenged you guys to find situations, events during the week in which we would have to use our 2 R factor responses that we learned so far.
I had my mama made me go outside and pick up all the trash. I did.
And you didn't do it.
I did.
You did it? That's
Get
what's up.
over it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. You did more than what she had.
Yes. I did the dishes too. And clean my room. Clean her room. Clean the living room. And I said,
That's
everything.
That's what's up. Where was he at in that mountain of average? How was he operating?
Elite.
He was operating elite. He was in that top 10%, right? Okay? Very good. Very good.
Consider that last 10, don't forget that 10, and just imagine that 10 just being a 20 is one of the people that first get that 8.